Well, hello, everybody. My name is Linda Peperoni, and I probably should start by saying ciao and benvenuto al pomeriggio in Italy. So we're going to take you on a journey today. We're going to introduce you to some wonderful, authentic Thermomix recipes. These are recipes that the girls in the team that are presenting today actually love and have introduce these into their own home. So we thought that this would be a lovely way for you guys to experiment with your Thermomixes and introduce a little bit of Italy into your home. We can't go away and we can't get on a plane, but we can actually bring you beautiful cuisines from around the world. So if you are interested in joining us on other cooking classes, we run 2 classes a week, one midweek, and then there's the every Saturday 4 p.m. slot. So we hope that we see you again on one of our other slots. So today is really about a journey through Italy. We've got wonderful presenters, all very authentic and all Italian. And they'll even share with you their regions, where the dish is from. They'll share some tips and take you on a wonderful culinary sort of journey with the dish that they're preparing. So if you haven't yet, pop yourself on mute, because we need everybody on mute so that we can actually keep a clear channel just for the presenters. So to go on mute, if you're on your computer, it's the bottom left-hand corner. So please make sure you're on mute, and then we'll start our class. So just do a quick check, girls that are in my chat group. I've got Anne-Marie and Janine helping me with talk in the chat group. So if you've got any questions, please make sure that when you're asking your questions, you're actually writing them into the chat group. The girls will do their very best to answer those questions, or hang out to the end. And if we run a little bit over, I'm very sorry, but you know, Italians talk a lot, so we may run a little bit over, but we're going to answer all those questions. And if there's something that you need specifically addressed, what we'll try and do for you is respond with the reply email that goes out to you. So there will be a recording that will go out to you, as well as all the recipes and some links on the wonderful items and I guess ingredients and stuff, and where to source those. We'll send that all out to you after the class. You've registered, we've got your email, we'll send it out. You see, I'm already talking with my hands, and probably a lot of the girls will be doing the same. So again, housekeeping reminder, everybody must be on mute so that our presenters will be front of screen. So please, the class will run for 1 hour approximately. And if everybody's on mute, we'll get started. Our first presenter for the day is the wonderful Danny. So Danny will start with a pepperoni alla Agrodoice. So we're going to go across to Danny, and she's going to pronounce it and give you a wonderful journey. Danny, are you there?
Hi, Linda, I'm here. Right here.
Okay.
Can you see me?
There you are. Yep, hang on a second, love. It just pop you on spotlight. Talk again.
Okay, can you hear me now? No, that's not me. Danny, right here. Buongiorno, signorini, signori. Have you found me?
Yep, 1 second.
I'm excited. Yay! Buongiorno a tutti. Benvenuti alla mia. No?
Got to get, yep, there we go.
Okay. Buongiorno tutti. Benvenuti alla mia cucina. Oh, wait, sorry. I'm meant to be speaking English, right? Welcome to my kitchen. I'm Daniela, but Danny's the Peter as a Thermomix consultant. And this is my kitchen. Actually, it's my mother's kitchen. I'm very traditional. I live with mum and we care and help her on her journey in Australia, and long story, but anyway. So I'm here in her kitchen and have been here for many years. And today I'm going to be making a peperonata. Now that's just what we call it. We're from the south of Italy. I'm going to start cooking straight away, and then I'll talk more about this dish that I'm actually making. So I'm actually going to find it in my Thermomix in my week. So I'll just go to my week, and I've saved it for today. So peperoni in Agrodoice. All right. So peperoni in Agrodoice, sorry, is an Italian actual recipe in the Italian recipe community. There are about 10,000 recipes in the Italian recipes, and I'm going to show you how to convert that so you can read it. But I'm also going to show you some tips and tricks so you don't have to do the Google Translate every second. Now, Thermomix won't translate it for me on my Thermomix screen, but my iPhone will. So we're quite lucky that we have this technology today. So we can access 10,000 real Italian recipes. So I'm going to start cooking just straight away to get it all going. I just press start cooking, and it is asking me for un spicchio di aglio. Now, aglio is actually garlic, and being Italian, I'm actually allergic to garlic. Now, people just think that's crazy. There are others out there, I've learned in my time, it just makes me really sick. So I start vomiting. But instead, I'm actually going to use onion. Now, long story short, Mum, I gave her the onion and she chopped it up for me. So Thermomix can chop my onions and my garlic, but I wasn't going to go waste another onion just with all the cooking we're doing at the moment and the minimum shots that we're doing. So I'm just going to put a little bit of onion, and it's kind of maybe half an onion. I don't like too much myself. So then I hit next, and it wants 50 grams di olio extravergine di oliva. So as per normal, we've got our grams there. I just tear it, and it says tarra. So if your name's Tara, it's tarra, not tear. So it's 50 grams of olive oil, and I'll just pour that in there. Now, it seems like it's a lot of olive oil, but you'll need that for the flavours. Italians do use a lot of oil, and that's probably why we have such beautiful oily skin and we look so young. Oh, jokes. Okay, so you'll meet my mum soon. Hopefully she'll come over and you'll see her beautiful Italian skin, and she's 81. Okay, so next. Now, there's a picture there. So it actually shows you what to do as per normal. Bosanare il Misirano. Yeah, I was actually born here. So my Italian is a combination of Southern Italian, and I've done some classes to learn proper Italian too. So next, turn to speed 5 and for 3 seconds. So that's just going to chop it as per normal. And done. So next, now where it's asking for 3 minutes. So, well, let's do this. Let's do the translate bit, so I don't have to try too hard. So I'm just going to go into my iPhone, and I downloaded Google Translate. Okay, so it's just, let's go back. So, oh, wait. It looks like, I don't know if you can see that. There's glare. Okay, there we go, Google Translate. Okay, now you can pay for that. There's a $99 one, but this is just the free one. So I just go to my camera, and I'm going to aim it at the screen, and down that bottom bit, turn the knob to speed 1. So it actually tells me, and I don't know if you can see that on my screen, but it's just done it automatically, which is amazing. Okay, so that's for 3 minutes. It's going to stir fry my onions. Now this dish, let me tell you a bit about it. It is a classic dish that we eat with so many things. So basically it's capsicums, stir fried. And a lot of Italians do it, stand by the fry pan and fry all the time. I've spent my whole life cleaning the stove. Now that I've got a Thermomix, well, I've actually got 2 Thermomixes in my kitchen. I don't need to clean as much because Mum is accepting that the flavours that Thermomix is providing are to standard, like the Italian standard. So, yeah, capsicum. Now, I'm going to change the recipe slightly. I'm going to add some pre-chopped thing. I've got some eggplant as well and some capsicum. Now, you can put tomato in it, just like 1. We don't put too many tomatoes in it because you don't want it to be saucy. We just want the flavour of the tomato to come into it. So it's basically fried capsicum and eggplant. You'll find, which is just a real common thing for the older Italian community and the young ones that know how to make this dish, we always go to the fruit shop, and you know when they're overripe, you know, the cheap reduced stock, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna buy that and make some fried, you know, they're not so perfect eggplants, they're not so perfect capsicum or the overripe, and that's perfect to make your peperonata, and use that in your dishes. Now, what would you cook with your peperonata? You could use your peperonata on a bread roll with a cotoletta, which is a chicken schnitzel, and a bread roll. That's just a real carb overload. We eat that quite often, not quite often. That's like your picnic thing. So you'll make it, so it's just flavors. You can use your peperonata with your pasta and just mix it through. So you've just got white pasta bianco, and then just get your, and because once you cook this, it will stay in the fridge for at least 2 to 3 weeks. Depends on how much you cook and how much the family consumes it. Now, another little thing is you can actually freeze it. So you can cook it and freeze it and then just defrost it as you need it. You can chop it up and flavour some it into your spaghetti sauces, your red sauces. What else could you use it as? We just, actually, Mum made a dish yesterday and she didn't know I was doing this. She did it on the fry pan, but she mixed chickpeas with it. So it's very vegetarian. It's a good wholesome dish, and I might show you that when I do the whip around later and show you what my one looks like and compared to hers. Yeah, so you can mix it with chickpeas. So that's just gone. So I'm going to go next. So now, basically, that has stir-fried my onions, and it's just sizzling. Can you see that steam coming? And, oh, I don't want to pour it. There it is. It's gone to the bottom there. But it's just so no mess in my kitchen, all that oil and all that frying. And it's asked for 700 grams. And like I said, I've got eggplant and colourful capsicum just to give it some colour. It is a very colourful dish. I think my favourite way to have it is definitely with chicken schnitzel. Even just on the plate without the pepperoni. So just pop that in there. And next, 2 cucchiarini di sale, which means 2 teaspoons of salt. Now, very liberal with my salt. I don't measure, a little bit more. And next, 30 grammi di zucchero, so 30 grams of sugar. Now, you cannot put this in if you don't want to. It just sweetens it up. Now, this actual recipe is bittersweet. It's actually translated to bittersweet. So I'm actually going to only put a little bit. I don't want too much sugar in mine. I don't want that sweet flavour. And now it says 40 grammi di aceto balsamico. Now, in the tips and tricks at the bottom, you can actually use homemade, this is the good stuff, the homemade vinegar. So a lot of Italians make their own wine and then they leave one to go a bit off, basically, and it's your vinegar. It's really strong. So I probably won't put the 40 grams. I'm going to put maybe Amagana. Oh, short. Just put 50 grams. Anyway, Amagana. See, I've become very Italian now. Okay, now this is what I was saying earlier. It says senza misurino, which is the measuring cup, but there's a picture of it. So you can really follow the instructions pretty quickly because we know how to use our Thermomixes. We know that the picture says no measuring cup, so just pop it on. And next, now it's going to cook for 20 minutes. I'm going to leave and show you at the end. If you've got any questions, pop them in the chat and I can answer while watching the other ladies cooking. So it's going to cook on Baroma and that's on just stirring mode for 20 minutes. So thank you so much for watching me in my kitchen. Mum didn't come, she might come back later.
Thanks, Danny. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go across to Sarah, our next speaker. Danny, I'll get you to pop yourself on mute and we'll remove you and we'll go across to Sarah. And Sarah is going to do Piadina Romagnola. I'm going to get this wrong. Romagnola.
Hello. Hi, Linda. Can you see me?
I'm just going to spotlight you, love.
There we go.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. So today I'm going to show you Piadina Romagnola, which is a typical dish from Emilia-Romagna, which is a region in the center of Italy. It's on the coast. It's a beautiful spot where to go and spend summer for us in Italy. I do come from Italy. I actually moved to Sydney about 11 years ago, and I'm settled here with my husband now. But certain things like food, it's just something that we can't forget, and we really need to keep looking for, whether it's a restaurant or shop or at home. I do love cooking, even before I got this little guy, but I must say piadina is just one of those dishes that in Italy you would just buy ready to eat or from a store directly. We actually have shops they call piadineria. I think there's a few here in Sydney. Oh, I thought there was a message, you can't see me. No, I think you can see me okay. Yeah, there's actually a few shops that only do piadinas here in Sydney, which has been a very pleasant surprise when we got here. But now that I can do it at home, honestly, no need to leave the house, especially now that we're in lockdown. With the piadina, I'm just going to give you some facts about it. The name is actually not Italian. It comes from Greek, from pita, like pita bread. So it's a sort of flatbread kind of thing in the way we do it. I think much thinner than the Greeks. And it's just the perfect summer meal when you're in a rush, when you want to eat something light. Because yes, cured meats for Italians are considered a light meal. So that's what we have when, even if you want to say you're on a diet, we would go for a piadina. And this is just something super quick to prepare. Normally when you buy them ready to go, they just come already obviously flattened, and all you have to do is just heat it up in a flat pan, and then you just put your favorite fillings in there. So this one I made for you earlier is a pepper mortadella spinach, fresh spinach mozzarella, and then you could put any sauce you like in it if you like. I am a fan of mayo, so you'll see me making my very own favorite just now, and I'll just start the recipe for you. It's a super quick dough, mess-free, I must say. Very easy to handle. Not too much work to be done on that. So without any further ado, I will start with milk. So that's 250 grams of milk. For those that normally pay attention to temperature, I really don't care. It's going to heat up the milk and lard, which I think Anne-Marie has a photo of what I normally use. We call it strutto in Italian, which is something that you can't actually find here, but this is just as good. Rinse it off because that's very greasy. And what it's going to do now, just going to heat up the milk and melt that lard in and just do a bit of a greasy base for us. In the meanwhile, I have started planning a few for you, and I'll be cooking one as well. It's just on at the moment. They take literally 3 minutes to cook. As soon as you see some sort of bubbles coming up the top, that's ready to be flipped, and just the same on the other side, and then you can stuff it as you prefer. I'm just going to show you, while the milk is going, we've got 30 seconds. This is a dough that I've done earlier. You normally do it in bowls like this, and you have to cover it so it doesn't dry up while you keep cooking. Might just, sorry, the glare is pretty bad. There we go. And then what I do, I just flatten it with my hands like that, just in a round circle. The aim is to make it round perfectly, but I'm going to show you a trick as well to get the perfect round shape, although we all know that the shape doesn't really affect the flavour that we're going to get out of it. I'm just going to proceed to the next step and then I'll show you. There we go. It's just going to add the flour in. Flour, I use Double O, which is really Italian. This is a brand that I used to buy in Italy as well. I do recommend that. And I will just, I've got it here. I'll just add it all together. 500 grams. And this is a little Italian product that it's not easy to find. But if you go to your local deli, any deli that you know that sells Italian products, they will have this. So it's yeast, instant yeast for pizzas and any sort of flavored dough. So you can't use this for cakes. There's another similar one from the same brand. It's a sort of a Tiffany color. That's the one for cakes. This is the salty version, basically. So all of that goes in, and this is going to help keeping it nice and fluffy and not dry. And salt, 10 grams. in, and we're just going to pop the lid on it. This is as easy as it is. 2 minutes. Meanwhile, I'll show you this guy, which slipped down. There you go. It got out of the pan while I was trying to flip it. So I don't know if you can see it there, but I'm starting to get little bubbles. I'm just going to leave it for another couple seconds, and then we're going to flip it over. A couple more seconds. So over here, I'll show you how easy it is to stretch it. I don't even use flour on this. This is the Thermomix, which is a mat. You can really use it for a lot of things. I like to use it to stretch the dough, because given that it's silicone, even without the flour on it, the dough doesn't stick to it. It comes off perfectly. I use it to proof my dough, and it's just really generally good for anything that you know it's going to stick to baking paper. Now, it's got also these guide in regards to how many centimeters I'm going to stretch your dough at. I'm going to try and do it at 24 because I do have a smaller pan going. So stretch that out, just sort of twist it at 45 degrees, and you keep going until you get sort of a rounder shape. Doesn't have to be perfect. The borders will look a bit funny, but my trick to make it round should solve the issue. And I'll show you in a second. There we go. Nicely. I do stretch it quite thin. I like to keep it at 2 to 3 millimeters. So that's pretty much, you can see it through. And then I'll show you my trick in a second. I'm just going to flip this one. I did burn that a little bit. That's when you try to multitask. Meanwhile, we've got the dough ready there. I'm just going to leave it for a second while I'll show you this one. So this is what we're aiming for. That's a very round one. I will keep it aside for a second. I'll show you how to get to that from this funny shape here. So my trick is this. I pop it on a chopping board, and then I use a cake. Yeah, this is part of a tin from the MixShop actually, and it's just the perfect size for my pan. So I just sit it on top of the dough, and then with a knife I just sort of cut around it just to achieve that shape that stretching by hand isn't as easy to do. And then I just take out all the unwanted dough from it. There we go. Put that aside because we're going to re-put it together. There we go. And we've got a round one. Now, I will show you how to cook one. I'm going to take this one off because honestly, I did a boo-boo. I am going to be honest with you, because these things happen, especially when you try to do more than one thing at once. The heat doesn't have to be too high. So, because this is just going to cook in a couple minutes. I'm going to sit it on the pan over there, sort of stretch it out gently, and we're just going to observe it so that we can see those bubbles forming. I hope you can see slight bubbles coming up. So remember, it needs to come to something like that. Now you can do it thinner, like I've done probably this one. This is a bit thicker. It's really down to your personal taste. These, funnily enough, won't go to waste because my husband went for a run. He's going to come home, and I know he likes to snack, even if it's 4:30. Kids, basically, even when they're 40. There we go. Now, I'm pretty sure you can see those bubbles now, right there. So it's ready to be flipped. There we go. So it's just a gentle brown there we're going to get. The good thing about this type of dough is it doesn't require proofing, and it doesn't require any sort of rest or anything. You can just do it as soon as you've taken that out, basically. So this is the dough as soon as it's made. It looks crumbly, but I'll show you how easy it is to actually put it all together by hand. So the way I do it, I just use my mat. I literally flip the the bowl onto the mat and then sort of wiggle around that little, the back of the blades basically, just so it releases the dough. And this is what's left inside, which is pretty much nothing, which I love because that means I don't have to stay there and wash it. And then putting it together is as easy as this. 1, 2, you have your piadina. Now, this dough, which is super soft, if I was to stretch this now, you would see me stretching it a lot easier than I did before. The one I did earlier was a dough that I made about 2 hours ago, just so you could see them pretty much ready to go. And this is the one that was just cooking, ready to be stuffed. And I'll show you my favorite. But this is pretty much ready to go. What you would do is to cut it in little bowls. Out of this recipe with half a kilo of flour, you would get about 5, 6 piadina. It depends how large you make them, depends how thin you make them. I guess the size and the thickness, it's a very personal taste. I like it thinner. This for me is way too thick, but I just wanted to show you, because if you go into a shop and try to buy them already done, that's how you find them. And that's probably the original way. But anyway, I am cooking today, so I'll show you my way. So just cutting that. I'm just using, this is a pasta cutter, I think, but that'll do. I will just cut it in smaller bowls, just like that. I think I'll make 6 out of these. And then all you have to do, look, clean hands. Rolling into bowls. Da, 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 da. Don't overdo it because there's no need, no point. You literally need 0 skills in order to make this recipe, which is the dream. You just keep rolling them. And then I'm just...
Sarah, how many do you get out of it? You're saying about 8 from that one dough, is that right?
5 to 6, I would say.
5 to 6, okay. And then they will just, so can we come back to you? You've got one that you've just cooked and we saw the end produce.
Yeah, I'm just
come back to you.
Do you want me to fill that now, or?
No, we'll come back to you at the end if that's okay, because we've got some pasta that's drying out.
Okay.
Clelia, we need to get on to Clelia. So I'll just get you to pop on mute, Sarah, and then we're going to come back to you at the end just so you can show it being filled.
Cool.
Hi, Linda. I'm here, the pasta lady. Hello. Hi, everyone. My name is Clelia, and yeah, I'm making pasta. So as Linda mentioned, the one tricky thing about pasta, the only one, is to make sure it doesn't get too dry or that it's not too wet. So we're going to talk about that in a second. I'm also from Italy, like Sarah. I've been here for 14 years. So basically, I'm in charge of making fresh pasta because I think I've got it on my degree. I learned from my mother as a child. I was the one rolling the machine all the time, the Mussels. But basically something that I've been doing since when I was a child. And yeah, I'm just very proud of being able to show this to you today. Hopefully nothing was wrong, because that's what happens when you're doing something live. So pasta, as you know, is like everywhere in Italy. You know, I'm from the north of Italy, near Venice, originally, and that's where my family still is. But yeah, pasta is everywhere in Italy. So I think I'm qualified to show you pasta, even if it's if you talk from someone to the south, from the south of Italy, they will tell you it's from there. But I disagree. Anyway, so let me get started. So I've got some ready. I've been rolling for a couple of hours now, simply because I wanted to make sure that we had a lot of dough ready to show you different things, not that it takes that long. I will show you how quickly it actually takes to make pasta in your Thermomix, and how to set up your station so you make it just so it's easy and it's a pleasure, rather than, oh my God, what am I doing here? So once you've got it all set up properly, I promise it's so easy and so much fun. You can get the kids involved, or you can just use it as some sort of meditation and relaxing task, and you can just do it by yourself. So obviously the Thermomix makes the dough. So I'm using a fresh pasta dough recipe from Cookie Dough, which is perfect. And I think Anne-Marie can pop the link in the chat, and we will also be emailing this out to you after the class, so you don't need to worry too much. There will be a recording as well. So if you missed some of the steps, you can always watch me make again, and hopefully I don't make any mistakes. The main thing is the ratio. So I'm just going to start cooking a simple pasta dough. You can do different flavors as well, spinach, tomato. It's all in Cookie Dough. Just read the tips section. So if you want to try different flavors as well, there's an option there. So 100 grams of flour to 1 egg. That's the ratio for pasta. So it makes half a kilo in one batch. Today I'm going to make 200 grams because I've already made 400 previously. We eat pasta every day, but not that much. So I'm just going to go with 200 for today. I've actually put a little bit less, about 190. That is just me. I personally like the dough a little bit wetter to work with. So I just put a tiny bit less flour. So say 400 grams, I put 375. So 200, I put 190 max. So that's my ratio. And then the next thing I'm popping in is the eggs. It also depends on how big your eggs are. So if they're huge, go with more flour. If they're normal, quite small, just maybe do a little bit less. And keep in mind that you can always add more flour as you work your dough, but you can't really make it too wet if it's too dry. So I always recommend using a little bit less if you can. I'm going to pop a bit of olive oil in. I'm just bringing up the scales. It says 1 tablespoon. I don't want to get a tablespoon dirty, so I'm just popping the scale on, and I'm going to do 20 grams of olive oil. So, and that's it. So that's my olive oil, and we pop the lid on, and now all it's going to do, it's going to knead it for 2 minutes. If you do more pasta, if you do 300, 400, 500, do it for 3 minutes. So you increase. You can do 2.5, or you can do 3 minutes, but 400 grams, 3 minutes, it just needs longer. So I'll just pop it on, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it's finished. In the meantime, I have to make some dough because I didn't want you to have to wait for 3 minutes. So this is my dough. All right. All I've done, I'll show you what it looks like when it comes out. Just make it into a bowl, and then same as Sarah was showing, I just basically keep it in plastic, cling wrap, just to make sure that it doesn't dry off in the meantime as I'm working the whole batch. I'll just cut it, and I just literally pressed it, and this is 2 sheets of pasta I'm about to work. So this is my little station. I've got pasta machine, I've got a board, I've got a wet towel. Towel is because when you roll some pasta, it dries off really quickly. So it's not really too wet, it's just damp. And what I do when I make a sheet of pasta, and don't laugh at me because I know I don't pronounce that correctly, I just pop it on here so it stays slightly damp and it doesn't dry off too much. This one, same story. When it came out, it was a bit damp, so I've got it here drying. But at the same time, if it does get too dry in the meantime, I can always pop it on my towel and get it to dampen a little bit again. You want your dough to be slightly soft. It's almost like Play-Doh, but a bit stiffer. And you don't want it to be wet. You don't want it to be sticky. If it's wet and sticky, the pasta won't turn up. So there's literally not water originally. If it sits there and it gets a bit dry and you need to make it a bit more soft again, a bowl of water here. And I just literally, with my fingers, I just pass it over the dough. I need to give it a bit of moisture back. So that's what I've been doing this afternoon because I made this batch a couple of hours ago. And even if it stays in clean film, it still gets a bit dry. So before you work it, you just dampen it a little bit and then you start rolling it. In the meantime, my batch is finished. So before I roll this, I will show you what it looks like. The one thing you need to do with pasta dough, don't let it sit in there for ages because the problem is if you do, then it will start drying out. So get your pasta going when you're ready to eat it, basically. The Thermomix will also show you, it's got a pretty picture, it will show you that it's meant to look crumbly like this. So we've done that correctly. And then when you click next, it's got a little video and it just shows you how you're meant to roll it into a ball. So I'm going to show that to you now. I'm just going to grab my spatula because obviously I've got everything but my spatula. There it is. So I'm just going to show it to you what it looks like. So it's really, really crumbly. Look, you can see it here, and that's perfectly normal. So I'm going to pop it all out, making that absolute mess. This is a messy job. So Sarah's dough, really clean and tidy. Mine, super messy. But that's part of the fun of making pasta. You know, that's why I was saying it's good to get the kids involved and all that, because it is fun. So I've got all these messy, crumbly dough. It's slightly warm as well from the kneading. And I'm just literally pushing it all together. It actually smells really nice. I know it's just dough, but it's got a little bit of very good olive oil that I've used. So I can smell the olive oil, and I can just smell the eggs as well. And that's a sign of a good pasta dough. So I've actually used this flour. I should have said that at the start. It's Italian. You can get it from delis and it's shops that specialize in Italian products, and it says it's for pasta fresca and gnocchi. Okay, Caputo is a very good brand. So it's actually pasta that is flour, that is designed to give you the best result. You can use plain flour as well as per the recipe, but if you find that one, just grab a packet, and obviously a kilo of flour will give you about a kilo of pasta. So what I'm going to do with this one now, I'm probably going to keep rolling for the rest of the class because I'm going to have this for dinner, but I'm just going to wrap it like this and set it aside so it stays warm and soft. So we just go back to our pasta. Now, we made the dough. We got a pasta machine sitting here, and it's just attached to the bench. And what we're going to pop in the chat where you can grab one. We actually have it on our MixShop. So I've got my little dough, cut a slice out of it, and I'm starting from setting 1. So if you haven't used the pasta machine before, it's got different settings. It's got a little wheel on the side. It starts from 1 and it goes all the way up to, depending on which model you've got, 8 or 9. What that does, it makes it go smaller. So what I'm doing now, I'm laminating the pasta. I start from 1 and I just go through it. Some are fancy and they're electric, and I wish I had one, but I don't have an electric one, so I'm just gonna have to do this manually. And when you want to do, you work in the pasta, you're laminating it. So you fold it into 2, and then you pass it through. I just moved it up to 2. So for every number, you do it a couple of times. If you listen to my mother, she will tell you that you have to do it 3 to 4 times. But I like to do it my way because I'm Italian and I'm inherently stubborn, and we all have our own ideas. But you just keep folding it and you go up to 3. So the first 3 numbers are much wider, and that's when you're laminating the pasta. Okay, now it's starting to stretch and it's starting to look really soft and nice. Then I'm moving quickly up to 4, which makes it a lot smaller. All right. And I'm starting to get what resembles a lasagna sheet. So it's quite thick. Keep going, because if you stop at 4 or 5, it's not going to feel nice when you eat it. It's going to feel really chewy and too thick. I keep going and I keep stretching it, and then I'm not laminating it any longer. So I'm just going once, basically per number. I know there's some Italians watching here. If you do it differently, it's okay. This is how my mom taught me, and I know there's a lot of different ways of rolling pasta, but at least if she ends up watching the recording, she'll be proud of me because I'm doing what she taught me. So I'm now up to 8. So what I'm gonna do with this one now, what can I do? I've got a sheet of pasta. It looks beautiful. It's slightly sticky, but it's not, it's just a little bit wet basically. And what I can do with this one, I can cut it and I can make lasagna sheets. The other thing I can do, I can pop it into the front of my machine where I can get tagliatelle from, or I can get spaghetti. And you just basically, I'm just gonna cut it in half and show you what that looks like. And then depending on what you're cooking, you can cut the shape that you want. So I already got some tagliatelle cut up at the back, as you can see. So I'm just moving the handle and off it goes. And I'm just making basically about 400 grams of tagliatelle, so we can have a family meal. Fresh pasta is more filling than the pasta you buy from the packets in the supermarket, so you don't need as much. And there it is. So that's my tagliatelle. I've got some semolina flour on the bench, and that's what I'm dipping my pasta in. Just a little bit of messy business, but that's what's keeping it separated and not so sticky. And then I just hang it on the rack. What hanging does, not much really, but it stops it from sticking together, and then it will dry off a little bit, and I can pop it straight in the pot and cook it. The other thing I can do, this one's been sitting there for a couple of hours, so starting to be quite stiff. You can pop it in the fridge as well and have it, you know, it lasts for a few days, so I could have that tomorrow. The other thing is, I know some people who freeze pasta. I personally don't, but you can do that also. So what I'm going to show you next, let's see if I can get there. We're going to do some dumplings, all right? So that's the other thing you can do. I should say ravioli, sorry. I'm so used to living in this country that now I'm losing my words. Ravioli, so it's dumplings, but it's called ravioli. So with this, what the other thing you can do, rather than long pasta, you can also, like I said, make lasagna with this, or you can make ravioli. I'm going to quickly show you how to make them. These pretty things, these are some I prepared earlier. See all the different shapes, and the filling as well. I'll quickly show you what I'm using, and I'll give you some ideas of what you can do from home. So hopefully this looks easy enough, and I'm tempting you guys to have a go. Back to my bench. So here I am with one rolled out sheet pasta that I prepared earlier. Obviously, normally you would try to have them the same length, so you're not wasting pasta. And what you can do is, with the pasta left over from making ravioli, you can roll it again and you can keep going. So there's no waste, all right? I'm just gonna make a couple here. So what I've prepared is just a mix of fresh ricotta that I've made in the Thermomix just yesterday, and then some spinach. So what I buy, I just buy frozen spinach. I let it defrost, and then what I do, I just let the water out. So make sure you strain it. You don't want it to be wet. Make sure you strain the ricotta properly as well. And that's it. You mix them together, a bit of salt and a bit of pepper, and that's all you need to do. 1 teaspoon is a good size. Don't go crazy. I mean, you can make giant ravioli. I'm sure we will watch Masterchef at some point in life, and they love making these huge ravioli. You can certainly do that. But if you're going more for a traditional size, it's about 1 teaspoon of mixture. So this will get me through a lot of dumplings today, ravioli. And all I'm doing next is I'm popping the other one on top. All right, this is where it gets a little bit tricky. So my mum's trick, it's covered, start from the back, push it down, go to the center, push it down. What I'm trying to do is get all the air out from around my filling. So then push it on the side, push it on the side, keep going, get all the air out, and then close the front. All right. I think I've done an okay job. If there's a bit of air in there. The reason you don't want air inside is because if you have some, when you're cooking them, they tend to explode, which is something you don't want, okay? So then I've got my ravioli cutter, which is this one. This is from the MixShop. I have other ones, different shapes and things. I actually use these shapes just to give me a guide, and then I cut with this one because I grew up using just this one and I find it easier for me, but you might like the other ones better. So I'm just going to do some square one for you, and the only tip I have is just try and make them regular, so they're all kind of a similar size, because when you're eating them, what you want to do, you just want to kind of feel and look at the same size ravioli in your plate. The other thing is, obviously, if they're two different size, one is too big, one is too small, obviously they cook differently. So you kind of want them to be all roughly the same and similar size. All right, so that looks pretty good. If there's any air bubbles inside, my little tip, if you're Italian and you're watching this and you don't do this, don't judge me. Sometimes you get a bit of air inside. It happens, all right, particularly when you're doing it the first few times. A little toothpick, and you pop a little hole on the side, okay? You get the air out, push it out, and then you close it again. Make sure you close it, otherwise your filling is gonna come out when you cook them. So there you've got a little sort of straight perfect ravioli, okay? And then you just keep going. It's so easy. I pop them on a plate. What I do, I still pop semolina at the bottom, because the one thing they do tend to stick. So you can put them on a chopping board, on a plate. You can have a little ravioli station on the side where you put the finished one. But basically have them on some semolina flour, because if you don't, then you're gonna go pick them up in half an hour or so to cook dinner, and they're gonna all be stuck to the bottom, which is not good. With the leftover pasta, what I said, like the cutouts, you put them back together, a little bit of water on your hand, you make it moist again because it's gonna be dry but sitting there, and then you just start working it again, and you just keep going until you've finished off all your pasta. So that is a little, I think I did quite well, about 15 minutes pasta, that's pretty good. Hopefully I've given you some ideas, different things you can do. And you know, when you set yourself up for making pasta, do a whole bunch. You know, it's when you're there and you've made all this mess and everything, why not, you know, make spaghetti, make tagliatelle, make ravioli, and then you've got pasta for a few days. So you can just do it on the weekend with the kids and by yourself, and then you've got pasta for a few days during the week. You know, if you're Italian, it'll last you half a week. If you're not, it'll probably last you a whole week, I'd say. So there you go. I think I've covered everything. Have I missed anything?
Yeah, you have. You've covered everything. And like, I learned a little trick about getting the air bubbles out. So bellissimo. Fantastic, because I didn't know that myself. All right, I'll get you to pop yourself on mute, Clelia, and then we'll go across to our next presenter, which is the lovely Barbara. And Barbara is going to do Cosse al vino bianco, so which is mussels in a white wine sauce. And let's go across. Barbara, where are you?
Linda, hi, I'm here. Can you see me? All good?
Yep, I'm just getting,
Wonderful.
There you go, over to you.
Perfect. Buon pomeriggio a tutti. Benvenuti alla nostra classe qui. My name is Barbara Piccioli. I'm born and bred in Australia, but to two very Italian parents. So I'm a full-blooded Italian, but just born here. I've always considered myself very much an Italian. I'm very blessed that I speak it fluently because both mum and dad really encouraged it as we were growing up, so that's great. So today I'm going to talk you through, so a bit of background of mine. I have both family in the north and the south. So mum was from up north and dad was middle in Florence and Naples, and then we go down to Sicily where my grandfather was from. Today I'm going to focus on a really beautiful dish that we eat pretty much every 2 weeks here at home for my family, and it's Cosse al vino bianco con una salsa alla panna. So that's basically mussels in a white wine and cream sauce. So I've gone ahead and prepared the steps because obviously, you know, we're time constrained with our class. What I've got here, and I'll talk you through the initial steps of what I've done. The beauty of this particular recipe, Anna Maria is going to kindly pop it in the chat for us, but basically the beauty of this one is Cookie Dough has both the Italian version, which is what I'm following today, but there's also the very, very well translated English version, which is known as your mussels and white wine sauce. So I've already gone ahead through the steps, and I had some beautiful parsley, which is over there, blitzed it up in the Thermomix, so that's what it looks like. Then I've gone in, and one of the tips that I suggest, the recipe calls for about 220 grams of onion, white onion, and I use, I'm a very big fan of leek in my cooking because I find the flavors that generate from leek are phenomenal. So I actually use 150 grams of leek, and then 70 grams, the rest of it, so 70 grams of white onion. So that was the step 2. So I've already gone ahead and prepared that in there with some nice olive oil. So I've simmered that. Then the next step that I then followed was actually to cook my beautiful mussels, which are here. And you can see they've opened up beautifully. So I basically put in a kilo bag of mussels in here, into the Veroma, and I had it cooking beautifully here. And so once that was ready, it asked me to set it aside. So I've done that. And then what it has then called for is for me to add some nice white wine, which I have done. And so I used just a bit of a Sauv Blanc. Doesn't have to be anything fancy, but that worked out well. It gives it a nice flavour. With the Sauv Blanc, I then, pardon me, set that off cooking again. And now I'm at the stage where I've also actually reduced the sauce quite a bit for a further 10 minutes. And so I'll show you now how it's looking so that you get a nice idea of the beautiful aromas. So as you can see, that's our delicious white wine, leek and onion, and the remnants of the parsley, obviously, when I originally chopped it up. So don't ever wash that out. Keep those flavors in there. So the next step is for me to add some, I'll just go through the Italian. So is to add the cream. Sorry, I'll just go next. So I'm going to just add a pinch of salt, a bit of pepper, pizzico di sale, un po' di pepe, and then it's asking me for 100 grammi di panna. So panna is cream. I use thickened cream, so just 100 grams of that. So I'll pop that in. Perfect. A little bit more, never does anyone any harm. Next, then it asks me to replace my measuring cup and lid together. Put that on. And then it's basically for 2 minutes. It's going to further now reduce that sauce and really mix it up with the delicious cream. One of the things that's really important when you're cooking your mussels is I buy mine from, you can actually, if you know, at the moment we can't get to the fish market as often as we like. So I've been doing Monetta's seafood deliveries, which are amazing, but I also can buy them very easily from Woolworths. So hubby went out this morning and bought these. These are perfectly vacuum packed mussels. So they're Kinkerwood shellfish. And that's, you know, a kilo there. And basically, I actually do wash them and de-beard them myself once I open them. They say they come de-bearded and washed, but let's be honest, it's not up to scratch. So I just scrub them all down. So it only takes 10-15 minutes. And then the other thing to note that's really important is obviously with mussels, if they don't open up once you've veroned them and you've steamed them, just discard them because obviously it's just a bad mussel. The nice thing with this particular recipe is it's very healthy and fresh. By steaming the mussels, and you're basically steaming them in from the sauce of what's cooking in here with the white wine and the leek. So you get some really nice flavors going. The recipe says that it serves 4 people. Let's be honest, if you're actually going to make this your main meal, probably 3 adults is max that you'd feed. So just factor that into account. And you know, if you need to make 2 portions, you can do so. Now I can either plate up now, Linda, or if you want to come back to me and I'll plate it up once the sauce is ready in another few moments.
Yeah, well, what we might do is the sauce is going, and you've probably got a couple of minutes by memory. There's still a couple of minutes for that to go. So we might cross over to our next presenter, which is Jeanette. And this is a fabulous one. I'll just get Jeanette to find her way onto the screen.
Can you see me?
Great. And Jeanette's going to be making Spumone al Caffe. Is that, if I got that right? Here we go.
Yes,
you say it.
Spumone al Caffe. But hi everyone, I'm Jeanette. I'm born in Australia. My mum's born in Australia, but my dad is from Calabria. So I'm not going to attempt to even speak because the Italian I do know is a dialect, and I think it would go over the top of everyone's heads, so I won't even go there. But yeah, I'm going to get straight onto the recipe because there's a couple minutes of whipping time, and then I'll have a chat to you about this. But it's basically like a soft serve, and I think many of us that have grown up in Australia will remember spumone as when we went to the pizza places for dinner or Italian restaurants for dinner. And you would get those little ice creams that were shaped like rock melons or different fruits. I think a lot of us remember it from there. So anyway, we'll get going. This is a coffee flavored one. So first we put in our sugar and our granulated coffee. I've already pre-measured it. I'm just going to pop it all in together so we don't have to weigh both of them. I've pre-weighed them. We pop our lid on and we're just going to mill that up so that it comes quite fine. That takes about 20 seconds. You can see the steam coming through. So, interesting fact about Spumone, it is August the 21st. It's actually National Spumone Day, if anyone didn't know that, which is really funny because I wouldn't have known that myself if I didn't actually have a friend that told me about it. So you can all see that that's all just, it's still steaming. Whew. It's all milled up. So we'll pop that down. And now what we do, you have to pre-freeze your milk. So I've done it in little ice cubes. We pop 500 grams of that in here. So hopefully I pulled it out a couple of minutes ago so it wouldn't stick. So we're just short of 500 grams, which is okay. And I've made a bit of a mess, spilt it everywhere. And we're going to use our spatula on this recipe because it does have the ice through it. It needs a little bit of help mixing. This is another recipe where you can press the video to see what you're meant to be doing. So this is 30 seconds. It's going to get a little bit loud. You can hear it starting to, it's broken up all the ice and it's starting to get a bit thicker. And then the next step from this, we will put the butterfly whisk in and it will froth it up. It comes like a really nice soft serve. Almost finished. Okay. Just pop this down here. So just show everyone that. And now we're going to pop in the butterfly whisk. And when you pop your butterfly in, I mean, most of you are Thermomix owners, but just make sure that you can't lift it up once it is in there. I'll just push a bit of that down. Not to forget our lid. And that's just going to go for 2 minutes. So I think traditionally a lot of the flavors in Spumone, especially, I think it's an Italian-American thing. So chocolate, pistachio, cherry, almond. So there's different flavors, but we are having the coffee one now. And it's after dinner. It's a nice sweet dessert to have. It is like an ice cream. It has really lovely flavors. And what I was going to show everyone too is it's actually really nice to have some biscotti with it. And there's an amazing recipe on Cookie-Doo that you can make the biscotti from. I've prepared it in stages for you guys now so that we can go through all of that. I can show you how easy that is. While that's still going, Linda, do you want me to just start talking about the biscotti for time?
What we might do is cross back over to Barbara so she can plate up or show us her end result. And that will give you a chance to get ready for the next bit. How does that sound? Okay, great. All right, Barbara, where are you again? Barbs, can you pop yourself on screen, love?
Sorry, I'm back. She's back. Hi guys, can you hear me now? Okay, so I've just basically started the pouring process. So this is our beautiful sauce. So now it asks me to versare questa salsa sopra le nostre cozze bellissime qui. Allora si fa così. So you just very lightly pop that on. And then with your beautiful fresh prezzemolo, which is parsley, aggiungi il prezzemolo. You can never have enough parsley, and it's really, really good for you. Like, it's got a lot of medicinal benefits. E voilà, ecco qui abbiamo le nostre cozze al vino bianco. And I often serve it with some delicious pane di casa to soak up the delicious sauce, because you can never have enough sauce and you can never have enough bread. And it's a very beautiful dish, very simple meal that can be made during the week at home with your family. Buon appetito e grazie mille.
Buon appetito. Okay, we're going back across now. Jeanette, do you think you're ready to go into the next stage?
Yep, ready. We here? Yep. So that's it after it's all whisked up. And I will, actually, I'll pop that in here now and I'll just show everyone. It is so yummy. You can see that. It's my husband's in the background waiting for it. So here we go. And I'll show you all what it looks like, because it is going to be served up with some biscotti, which is sliding off the plate. But there is a recipe on Cookie Do for the biscotti. I have pre-made some. I've got the stages to show everyone. It's a really easy recipe to make. Basically, you whisk up your egg whites to start with. The recipe says 5 minutes. Keep an eye on it. You have your measuring cup out of the lid. Do keep an eye on it, because I found it didn't take 5 minutes. It only took half that time for me. And then after you've whisked them up, you add in some sugar slowly while it's still whisking. And from there, you add in your flour, you add in your almonds. The recipe that I've used today has chocolate chips through it, but I've made 2 batches, one without the chocolate chips, one with chocolate chips. You could put fruits in it, really anything you like. You can just experiment with it and change it up. So once you've done that and you've popped your flour in, you put your batter. So this one is not cooked, and it goes in 2 tins like this. It does look like it's quite thin at the moment, but once it is cooked, it comes out of the oven and it comes out in a log. And this is the chocolate one. So it comes out like that size. You slice it up, and then basically from there, pop them on your tray. They go in the oven for 5 minutes and they're cooked. And so you can see these are the ones with just the almonds, and they're the ones with the chocolate. Matte from the MixShop. So they're awesome. Save on baking paper. But also with this recipe too, we don't eat gluten at home. So I've made this with gluten-free flour, and it has worked out perfectly. I noticed clearly I used the Caputo flour before. I used the gluten-free version of that. And that is by far the best. Measurements are one-on-one when you use this flour. I know it's probably a bad thing being Italian and we're not able to have gluten, but if anyone wants to change up that recipe, you can, and it works perfectly fine.
Awesome. Thanks very much. All right. So Jeanette's introduced us to our dessert for the evening. Some biscotti to have a little bit later. Clelia has introduced us to the pasta. And Barbara has introduced us to the mussels. And I guess we need to go back and see Danny and Sarah. So let's cross over.
Who are you getting? Me or Danny?
I'm ready if you need.
Ready to.
Okay, Sarah.
Go to Danny or Sarah. Who wants to go first?
I can go. I'm getting hungry looking at this.
Okay, Danny, you go. Danny goes first.
Excellent. All right, I brought Mum here.
Hello,
Yeah,
Sarah.
stand up. She's very excited because she thinks she knows Sarah, but she doesn't. Step back a little bit. Say hello to 200 people. Say
Hello, Sarah. Hello, Sarah.
no. Say hello to everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Okay, that's Mum, and she's enjoying watching everyone cook today. Now, I'm just going to go and start with her peperonata that she made yesterday. Now, this is with the chickpeas, so you can see that there's chickpeas. She actually made this on the fry pan. So we were just talking earlier, and you can also put some potatoes in it as well. So just keeping it very vegetarian if you like. Now, if you were to make that in the Thermomix, I would steam them in the Varoma, and then you could put them in the air fryer and crisp them up and then add them to your peperonata. Okay, so that's one way. Now, my way, which I've plated up with my chicken schnitzel in there. So there is a chicken schnitzel and it has the peperonata inside it. And I've got some black olives and a couple of chilies. Now, when I was cooking it, I added eggplant. Now, you can add chili as well. But what happened was, which I haven't tweaked enough of this recipe by the Thermomix. So it actually went into a little bit of a mashy kind of style. So it's more of a pasty peperonata, which is fine. It still tastes amazing. My son just got back from a bike ride and he had it on his chicken schnitzel and he's 15. He's like, Mum, this is so good. Because it's hot, there's a bit of background noise. If you could just mute that person, sorry. Yep. I'm not, am I centered again, Linda? Linda, can you see me?
I'm just trying to find that person to mute them.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, everybody. So my 15-year-old was like, this is really good. So it's eggplant and capsicum full of veggies and very healthy for you. So, yeah, I hope you all enjoy. The other thing I wanted to say really quickly, the Italian delis do sell capsicum mixes and eggplant mixes, and I think it's sort of like $40 or $50 a kilo. So you can make it yourself with a couple of eggplants or capsicums that are in the overripe bin in the fruit shop. So enjoy, and I hope you enjoy your Thermomix. And Mum's standing here. I think she's a bit confused because she's only seeing Linda Peperoni there.
Oh, ciao.
Yeah.
Ciao, ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao, ciao. All right. Okay. So we're going to go over to Sarah. Sarah, finish us off now, and then we'll just open up for some quick questions and answers, and then I'll send you off with some lovely Italian tunes. But Sarah, finish us off, please.
There we go. So these are my favorite ingredients to do my piadina. So I've got some ham off the bone, fresh spinach, mozzarella, and I've sliced it in little slices, some fresh tomato. This is some mayo that I did early today. I can't stop eating mayo over anything, so that's a definite ingredient for my personal piadina. As an alternative, I've got stuff here to show you. So you could use prosciutto, you could use some salami. Look how nicely packed they are. I love going to the deli. You almost feel guilty ripping that off. And then I've got mozzarella, which is the one I did before, and the ham. Someone in the comments before asked if there's a sweet version of it. Yes, this is the good stuff to go in it. You could put some fruit in there as well, like banana or strawberry. But honestly, if you're Italian, you know it. You just go with Nutella, and you don't just spread it lightly. You go spoon by spoon until it's covered completely. So I'll just show you some other cheese you can use. Stracchino. You could use some brie. This isn't very Italian. It's actually from Adelaide. Beautiful cheese though. Even blue cheese, any kind of cheese that just melts fine. It's perfect for these ones. So I will just show you. There's two here. I just put my spinach first, and then some prosciutto, ham. We call it prosciutto cotto, so it's still prosciutto. But over here you call it ham, which is not what we call it. Some fresh tomato, just like that. Oops, let's put it off. Mozzarella. When you make it on the spot and you stuff it right away, the cheese will start melting off as well. And then here we go, a bit of mayo. You can spread it on the side if it's easier. There we go. And then you just pop. That's it. Now this is a very well-stuffed piadina. I didn't have lunch and I am kind of hungry, and looking at all the beautiful stuff that we've cooked today all together, I must say I'm gonna dig in right away into my piadina. So there you go. You've got mortadella, spinach and mozzarella, and this is ham off the bone, spinach, tomato, cheese and mayo. And tonight I will treat myself with some Nutella.
Love it, love it, love it. I think we all love a little bit of that. So thanks very much, Sarah, for taking us through that. And I just wanted to sort of share with you all for the very last time, this is an opportunity if you want to ask some questions, you can pop something into the chat, or you can come off mute and ask us directly. The class today is being brought to you by Thermomix in the the beaches, sort of Sydney area. We're currently recruiting also in our area. We've had some of the busiest times ever. Everybody's passionate about cooking at home. And what we're doing is we're offering a solution for you. The wonderful Thermomix. You can come on board with us at the moment and earn your Thermomix with just 6 sales. So if that's something that's of interest to you, make sure you reply in the email that we send out. The email will have all the recipes that we've made today. The email will also include any tips on those ingredients and the produce and where you can buy those, the items and the links to the MixShop as well. So if we haven't got any questions, what about my chat moderators? Is there anything in there, or clearly?
There was an oil. Somebody asked what oil do people use in mayonnaise, because this person does not like grapeseed.
Okay, so has anybody got a response? One of the consultants got a response to that? I normally use grapeseed.
The mayo I make, I do with sunflower.
Excellent.
Sunflower.
All right. And was there anything else? Anybody else got any questions?
And then a lot of the earlier ones, I think we said we'll respond to on an email at the end anyway, fine. So don't worry.
Yep, I'll go through all the chat and make sure I've read everything before I respond so that I've got the appropriate responses. The idea from today's class has been brought to you by the lovely Clelia, who's just stepped up from being a consultant to a team leader. So Clelia, take yourself off mute. And we just want to say thank you so much for everything that you've done today to bring this class together and keep it in that little bit of an authentic space. Clelia, where are you?
I'm here. Thank you, Linda. Yes, I was really looking forward to doing an Italian class. I've been thinking about and talking about it for quite a while. It's mostly the fact that let me just spotlight myself. There you go. Yes, it's been in the pipeline for quite a while. I know everyone loves Italian food. I do. So, you know, I'm glad we managed to bring this class to you today. I hope you enjoyed it and it's giving you some ideas on what to do. You know, a lot of us are stuck at home. We can't really go out. We're probably missing your local restaurant. Please do get food from them, do get your takeaways from them and support them, but also treat yourself to something different from home. You know, we all got time. You know, don't watch so much TV, make some pasta, you know, it'll make you feel good about life. And my little tip is, you know, once you've done it once and all these beautiful things that we presented today, you know, you try new things, the piadina, the spumone, it will make you feel more confident about using your Thermomix. And when, you know, life goes back and everything, you know, goes back to being really busy and all that, you won't feel so intimidated about having, you know, to put some fresh pasta on a Friday night for the family, because it actually is really, really easy. So it's a great time to get stuck into your Thermomix. And we're here for you. We're here every week. Doing different things, but you know, you have any questions, you want to know where I make my passata from, you know, you're gonna get an email from Linda, and then you can contact us, and we're always available to share tips and ideas with all of you. So it's been a pleasure to have you all. Thank you so much. Grazie.
Yes, so thank you everybody again, and we look forward to having you at more of our classes that we bring to you. If you're part of our Insiders group, now if you're a Facebook follower, we have a group called the Insiders group. I would encourage you to look for that. I'll send the link in the email as well. There's lots of different classes that we bring through that channel, and you'll be able to see those classes and their recordings in that space. We also have previous classes that we can actually send to you, and I'll pop that link also in the email that I send to you, so you can click and watch previous recorded classes as well. But from me to you, to everybody, ciao tutti and good night. Thanks for joining us on our wonderful Italian travel adventure today. See you later.